I seriously just want to rip my nose off and like throw it on the ground. Hey book babe, I just came back from Yallwest, and guys, you have no idea the absolute joy I feel in my heart to have met way more Latinx and Spanish speaking authors at this event. Now it's so funny that I'm actually highlighting Latinx authors that also write in Spanish in their books without apologizing for it, because someone recently asked me if I would ever do a video that is fully in Spanish. Wouldn't that be fun? Let me know. As a long-term YA reader, and still my adult self is definitely enjoying some YA, I have been to author events and panels for a very long time. A lot of these panels never featured Latinx authors or Spanish-speaking authors, and while I still enjoyed their stories so much and their books, it's just a whole other level when you get to see your language from home in books and characters that look like you. I want to highlight 5 YA authors that I had the pleasure of meeting at Yallwest and books that deserve all the freaking hype. I want to start off with debut author Carolina Ixta. Believe it or not, I was actually introduced to her work through our university. We both attended the same university, and they posted that she was recently published, and I actually made her a banana slug friendship bracelet because we are both banana slugs. Her book is called Shut Up, This Is Serious, and it is considered YA realistic fiction. Actually, that was something super cool about bookshops nowadays. If you go to the YA section, there is a YA fiction and YA non-fiction section, and I think that's amazing because I remember as a young adult I loved talking about the world and exploring it because it's all new and like the world is freaking nuts, and I was just wondering as a young adult, and I still wonder today, how we allow the world to run this way. But anyway, Carolina actually explores a very complicated world of young adults in East Oakland. This one character is just going through life, going through high school, and finds out that her best friend's pregnant. Her father left her when she was super young. This book explores colorism, it explores teen pregnancy, it explores parents that neglect you. It touches on very difficult family dynamics, and it is called Shut Up, This Is Serious because our main character tries to distract herself through other means like hanging out with older boys and like just trying to have fun and really not face head on what she's actually feeling and going through. And it's a very heavy book, but it is so important. It is so good. It's one of those things that I love about YA, where YA really touches on very heavy topics without doing too much, but still making our young adults think. This is a recommendation for you if you've never tried YA fiction before, and if you're interested in this topic or you don't really know much about it, what better than another Latinx author that is from Oakland, lived in Oakland, was raised in Oakland, writing about Oakland. Your girl is in her thriller era, and we have a YA thriller that I am throwing into the mix. This is actually a book that came across my desk, so to speak, a while back, and I can't believe I haven't like talked about it more or hyped it up. And it is called Retro by Jared Schusterman and Sofia La Puerta. Okay, meeting them was like everything. It was so freaking awesome to chat with them. Sofia is actually Spanish speaking. She is from Spain, so not exactly Latinx, but still everything they both stand for in books and fight for in the publishing industry is so important. Sofia and I ended up talking about how publishing houses demand you italicize Spanish and demanded that she translates everything. And honestly, in recent YA and just books in general, I've seen a lot of authors not do that. They don't translate, they don't italicize, they just speak Spanish and move on. And you as a reader, well, you're pretty much required to look it up and read it. And if you've never read For Brown Girls with Sharp Edges and Tender Hearts, this is exactly what it talks about. It talks about basically decolonizing our writing, because these stories are told from this person's perspective and heritage and place of knowledge, and so why should they colonize their writing? You really should check out that chapter in that book. It's pretty amazing because even I was surprised that the Spanish wasn't italicized and that there was no translation after. It just breezily was, and Sophia loves that, and she fought for that in this book, both her and her partner actually, because they co-wrote this book. So anyway, there is a huge prize in this world if you basically go without technology. But when our main character does and attempts this challenge, a lot of freaking creepy things end up happening. People go missing, her family's in danger, and there's basically more than meets the eye. And so it's like a fast-paced, pretty impressive debut novel. And again, it really aims to fight for a place at the table. I adored chatting with them both, but I did get more one-on-one time with Sophia, where she was just so excited to speak in Spanish with me, and seeing her brighten up when she realized I also speak Spanish. I just had a blast like chatting with both of them. Okay, now for my romantasy people, because y'all know I adore fantasy with my whole heart, and especially romantasy. We are gonna talk about Angela Montoya and her book Sinner's Isle. It is honestly really recently published. I consider it recent because that book was published in October 2023 and A Cruel Thirst was published in December 2023. So she just like pumped out these books, and dude, it is everything. Pirate, prince of pirates, it is star-crossed lovers, it is forbidden romance, it is a lot of angst. But not to mention Angela Montoya herself is just such a force of nature. She is so wonderful. She is hilarious. She actually co-hosted the SmackDown, which is the final event of yallwest with Brian de la Sala, and I was just cracking up the whole time. Definitely check her out on her socials as well, because she's always doing the funniest like TikToks and reels and posts. As for her book, I mean, how more romantasy can you get? The main MC is to die for. There's so much yearning there. Personally, I would definitely fall for a guy that's called like the Prince of Pirates, the Prince of the Sea. It is so much angst, which I absolutely love to see in romantasy. And to make it better, it is all Latinx. Angela Montoya is Mexican American like me as well, which is just like everything. And when I first met her, we both thought we knew each other, because I knew she was Angela Montoya, but beyond that, she just looks so familiar to me. And she said the same thing about me. She was basically like, we're cousins. At some point we're cousins, because we're like both Mexican American and from the same area. I'm so stoked that I got to meet a couple of authors that are Latinx, that are published, that are doing their thing, that are in YA, and that are from the same region. It just means so much, and I'm just gushing and fangirling inside. And if this is your cup of tea and type of hangout and you're not yet subscribed, hit the sub button, keep hanging out, and let's see what other shenanigans we run into together. Now I have to shout out my other two favorite YA authors of all time that are Latinx, and that is Aiden Thomas and Adam Silvera. Of course, if you've been on this channel for a while now, you know that I freaking adore Aiden Thomas. I am always screaming about the Sunbearer Trials, which was actually featured in Leandra, the TBR Zero's recent video, where she showcases booktubers and picked little old me to be a part of this series as well. I freaking adore that book. That is Aiden Thomas's high fantasy. Y'all know I've been a big fan for a very long time. How his books have made me cry, how the representation, the candy, like everything in that book just spoke so deeply to me. Guys, I was able to like do an interview with Aiden. It was very lighthearted fun. I can't wait to post about it, and you'll definitely see more footage the closer we get to the release of Celestial Monsters, which is the second and final book of the Sunbearer Trials. It is a duology. But guys, it was like a dream come true to actually like chat with Aiden and like hang out and be in a more calm setting where it's not just like, hey, sign my book, let's go. And I made him a Celestial Monsters bracelet, which he was so excited. He was like the cutest thing ever. He was like jumping up and down, like pulled out his hand and let me like slip the bracelet on him, which felt like a total proposal. So basically, Aiden Thomas and I are basically like best friends for life now, because I proposed and he said yes. But with Aiden Thomas, you're gonna get a little bit of everything. So if you're looking for a YA retelling, he does a Peter Pan retelling, he does an urban fantasy, and of course the high fantasy with the Sunbearer Trials. And let me just tell you that he made sure I got a physical copy of Celestial Monsters, and I am dying inside because this book is released in September, but I adore it with my entire soul. I love it so much. But what makes it more special is that it's dedicated and it is physical print. Physical print arcs are sometimes difficult to come across unless you're directly working with a publisher, or maybe you're like a really big account, or perhaps you are supporting the author like one-on-one and they just know you really well. And I know this is a highly anticipated release for so many people that follow Aiden Thomas and the YA world and like fantasy in general. It is just such a great book that it is such an honor to have like a physical copy. This means a lot, okay? Because I absolutely adore this book, and little old me still gets something. I could just scream about it all day, and I did, in fact, all throughout LA Times, which you'll see in this Ever and interview, and all throughout Leandra's this video and on this channel and in real life at yallwest. Now I want to shout out and highlight this last author, which I've also featured quite often on my channel as well, but he did recently share some news that I think deserve an extra hype when talking about them and talking about their books, and that is Adam Silvera. They are popularly known for Infinity Sun, but also for They Both Die at the End, which to me is insane that I adore so much because it has so many tropes I usually can't stand. I don't always love an urban fantasy and I don't love insta love, but this is both of those things and they work and I love it, and I love his characters and I love Adam Silvera's humor. If you have never been to one of his panels, I highly recommend. He is hilarious. He has the best energy, and if you get a chance to be with Adam and Aiden, highly recommend. It is such a blast to see those two chat. But Adam Silvera has recently talked a little bit about some struggles that he's been going through in terms of offing yourself. Definitely check it out on his video. I could never do that justice. It is like his story, his truth. He chose to share it this way. Something that I just admire so much about Adam is how he's really pushing himself to seek help. Not everyone can actually take that step to ask for help and reach out. So incredible of him, and this is pushing back his video, but like who cares, right? Like the fact that Adam is working on himself, is like growing as a person, is trying to make sure he's okay, is wonderful to me, especially when he is such a wonderful energy to be around. He definitely deserves all the freaking love and all the freaking hype. But with that being said, it is amazing that he's even giving us a title, so I definitely want to hype up what he's writing right now and what he is preparing to publish. So we have They Both Die at the End, which is the first book in the Deathcast series, and then we have The First to Die at the End, which is technically the prequel, but I still recommend you read They Both Die, then The First to Die. And now we finally have a title reveal for Adam Silvera's Deathcast number 3. No one knows who dies at the end. I don't know why Adam Silvera loves to freaking torture us, break our hearts, and have us guessing, but he does. This is gonna be an amazing Deathcast because in this world there is technology, magic, who knows, that lets people know if it is their final day. You literally get a call from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. You'll get a call letting you know if you have 24 hours or less to live. When he says they both die at the end, they actually both die at the end. When they say the first to die at the end, they actually mean that is the first person to die at the end when this program launched, which is why I consider it a little sci-fi, I would argue, because it is more tech-based than magic-based. Premise says that domestic terrorists actually took over Deathcast, the calling center, the technology, and now no one is getting a call, so no one knows if that is their final day. I cannot wait for this book. I'm glad that Adam can see that he has really supportive readers and really supportive colleagues, aka other authors that are like, take your time, books will still be there. That got deep real fast. YA is something that I adore and cherish so much because I think it is so underrated. It is a huge variety. Like, you can write so many different types of books within YA, and this video is a proof of that. We went from fiction to realistic fiction to retellings to high fantasy to romantasy to sci-fi YA to thriller. It is really a wide spectrum of subgenres and categories. There are so many more, but I just felt like sharing that with you guys because I adore highlighting more Latinx authors. If you want more stories in general that are not just YA, I have another video called Latinx Rex, and that has actually been popping off recently. I guess more people are looking for fellow Latinx authors, so you can definitely click on that for more Rex as well. I hope you like this video, and if you do, make sure you hit that like button, leave a sweet comment below, all the things that help the algorithm that other Latinx booktubers are also fighting against. Whole other topic for a whole other video. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!